Imagine your body having its own natural way to heal itself, sharpen your mind, maybe even slow down aging a bit. It sounds futuristic, but it's actually ancient wisdom. Wisdom science is now backing up.
It really is fascinating. If you go back to ancient Greece, you find thinkers like Plato, Hippocrates. They were already recommending things like fasting or periods of abstinence.
For what reasons exactly, from their viewpoint?
They saw it as boosting physical and mental performance. They even used the term catharsis, a kind of purification. They believed it helped the body cleanse itself.
And what did they see happening? What were the results they observed?
They noted people having more vitality, recovering faster. Hippocrates himself, the father of medicine, he famously advised, instead of using medicine, better fast today.
He also said something like, eating when sick feeds the sickness.
That's right. It points to this intuition they had that the body possesses this innate power to heal, and sometimes the best thing is just to get out of the way and let it work. They saw fasting as enabling that repair.
It's pretty amazing they reached those conclusions just by observing, without knowing anything about cells or molecules. You could argue, how could they be so sure?
Their empirical evidence must have been compelling for them, but you're right, it was based purely on careful observation. And for centuries, this idea was, largely overlooked by medicine, which focused more on external treatments.
Until relatively recently.
Yes. Science started catching up. The actual cellular process was first identified back in the 1960s, but the really detailed understanding, the molecular mechanisms, that earned a Nobel Prize in 2016. That's when we finally got the why.
So what is this process called?
It's called autophagy. It comes from Greek words meaning self-eating.
Self-eating? Sounds a bit dramatic.
Well, it describes what the cell does. It's like the cell's internal recycling program. It breaks down old, damaged parts, misfolded proteins, the kind of cellular junk that can cause problems and even invading microbes. It uses specialized parts called lysosomes to do this dismantling.
So the cell recycles its own components to stay healthy. How is it switched on and off?
Good question. It's regulated mainly by your nutritional state. When you eat, especially carbohydrates or protein, insulin levels rise. This signals growth through a pathway called mTOR, and that generally switches autophagy off.
Okay, so being fed means less cleanup.
Generally, yes, the body's in building mode, but when you fast or restrict calories or keep carbs very low, insulin stays low. That's the signal for autophagy to ramp up. It tells the cells, okay, resources are scarce, time to clean house and recycle.
Right, and the modern research looking at the sources, it highlights some major benefits when autophagy is active. Let's talk about the top three.
Absolutely. First, there's cellular cleanup and longevity. Think of autophagy as quality control. By clearing out damaged parts and cellular waste, it helps keep cells functioning well for longer.
Preventing that buildup of junk associated with aging.
Precisely. Studies in various organisms show activating it can increase lifespan and health span the period of healthy life. Some human studies even suggest it might reverse certain markers of cellular aging. We're talking about findings hinting at maybe 1.5 years of cellular age reversal over just 3 months in some cases. And it clears out senescent cells.
The zombie cells.
Yes. Those dysfunctional cells that hang around and contribute to aging and age-related diseases, autophagy helps get rid of them.
That's huge. What's the second major benefit?
Neuroprotection, protecting the brain. Autophagy is crucial for clearing out those misfolded proteins, like amyloid plaques and tau tangles, that build up in diseases like Alzheimer's and Parkinson's.
So it could help prevent that buildup.
The evidence points that way. Some studies looking at intermittent fasting patterns have found links to slower cognitive decline, perhaps as much as 40% less decline in certain groups. Part of this seems related to boosting BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor.
Builds brain cells.
Exactly. Supports their survival, growth, function, good for memory, learning. Knowing our body has this built-in defense is quite something.
It definitely. And the third key area?
Metabolic health. Autophagy plays a big role here. It improves how sensitive your cells are to insulin, partly by clearing out faulty insulin receptors. This helps regulate blood sugar much more effectively.
Which has implications for things like
Type 2 diabetes, there's research linking enhanced autophagy to improvement, even potential reversal. It's also beneficial for conditions like fatty liver disease and managing obesity. Better metabolic function overall.
So let's tie it all together. The ancient Greeks, with their fasting practices, they were essentially, without knowing the term, activating autophagy.
That's the connection. They saw the results, the vitality, the mental clarity, the health improvements, and now science shows us the mechanism happening right down at the cellular level.
A bridge across thousands of years of observation and discovery.
It really is. We should definitely acknowledge those ancient thinkers for observing so closely and sharing that foundational knowledge. The science just filled in the details later.
It truly feels like another verified legend that goes in the archive. The power they witnessed wasn't mystical. It was the body's own incredible repair system.
And it makes you wonder what other ancient observations about health and the body might be waiting for their own modern scientific explanation.